Oh hey, welcome to the video. Today we are talking about what it's like living in Felida, which is in the northwest corner of Vancouver. Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to the Living in Vancouver and Camas, Washington YouTube channel. I'm your host, Hannah Dubyne, and I'm so glad that you're here today because we are talking about what it's like living in Felida. If you've been watching videos, researching the area, or you already live in the area, you may be finding things out about Felida and hearing it's a great area to live. And so today I want to go over, I think I have 7 things on my list because I always like doing numbers and doing lists. 7 things that I just want you to know if you're interested in the area, things that are good to know. So let's get into it. So the very first thing I want you to know about Felida is that Felida is not its own separate city. Sometimes I'll ask people, what cities have you been looking in? And they'll tell me they've been looking in Felida, Salmon Creek, and Fisher's Landing. Well, all those areas are just areas of Vancouver. They're not their own cities. So if you live in Felida, your address, for example, is going to be 1234 Main Street, Vancouver, but you still live in Felida. The main zip code in the area is 98685, and Felida is actually outside of the city limits. If you go on Google Maps and you search Vancouver, Washington, it'll bring up the city limits border map and show you where that is. I would say more than half of Vancouver is outside of the city limits. So that doesn't really have any major bearing on anything. I mean, you can have chickens outside of the city limits and it changes some of the utility providers, but that's pretty much it. What I want you to know is that Felida is in Vancouver, it's not its own city. The second thing I want you to know about Felida is that a lot of Felida actually used to be farms. About 10 years ago, in 2012, there was a very large farm that was demolished, Erickson Farms, and that was 52 acres. And with those 52 acres, they created lots of planned subdivisions, and they actually named it after Erickson Farms, they named it Erickson Farms. So they honored the legacy of the farmers who owned the land for a long time. I want to say it was 100 years, give or take a little bit. There's not a ton of information online if you try and do some research, but everyone that had grown up in that area and had grown up in Vancouver knew about it, and I think they did a pretty good job making the community nice. They put in the Erickson Farms shopping area, so that's great, we love that, and it's not a farm anymore, it's mostly houses. Number 3 thing to know about Felida is that people really like it for the schools. So this is one thing where I can only say so much. I'm not really giving my opinion based off of the schools, but just what other people have experienced. They really like the schools in the area, and according to niche.com, this is one of the higher rated school areas in our area. Of course, anyone can live here, but it is a choice spot for families. The number 4 thing to know about Felida is that this is a pretty expensive area. As of July 2022, the average sale price here was $741,000 for a single family home. For perspective, all of Vancouver hovers around $500,000 right now. So that's about 50% more expensive. Another thing to know is that most of Felida, not all of it, but most of it is mostly larger homes, newer homes, family size homes. So obviously that's going to naturally bring up the price if you're comparing that to a starter 1,500 square foot 3-bed, 2-bath home. Those are completely different leagues. But if you are trying to get into the Felida area at a more entry-level price, which we would consider $500,000 to $600,000, just know you're gonna have less options. And this is oftentimes a spot where people go for their second, third, fourth, or final home. The 5th thing to know about Felida is that it's got a cute little boutique kind of feel. This is something that I really only find is true in Felida and in Camas, because they've got more of that small town feel. This is mostly because up Lakeshore Ave, we have Erickson Farms little shopping center, and then we have the Felida Village shopping center, and then we've got a couple other little boutique shops and local businesses scattered along the main roads in the area. This is not something I see in other areas, and it just kind of gives it that nice homey feel. From feedback I've heard from friends and clients, Felida is more of a close-knit area, so maybe you know your neighbors and you wave when you're walking, that kind of thing, and who doesn't love that, right? The sixth thing to know about Felida is that your main shopping area, where you're gonna find really everything you need on a normal basis, is gonna be in Hazeldale. So this shopping area is centered around I-5, Highway 99, and the main roads around there. You're gonna have grocery stores like Fred Meyer, Safeway, hardware stores, fast casual restaurants, doctors, Wingstop, that kind of thing. Chipotle, they got a Chipotle over there. So that's gonna be 10 to 15 minutes away depending on where and how far deep you live in Felida. But it's very close, and it's one of the benefits to living up in Felida. The seventh and final thing I'm touching on in this video today is that there are lots of parks in Felida, which people really love. So the main parks I think of when I think of Felida are Felida Community Park, Raspberry Fields, and Salmon Creek Greenway. Those are all right within the vicinity. And then of course there are lots of smaller neighborhood parks. If you like to walk or take your dog out to the park, take your kids out to the park, whatever, this might be nice for you. We certainly have parks all over the rest of the city and in neighborhoods in all of Clark County as well, but they're just a little bit bigger and more emphasized in this area. Thank you so much for watching this video about Felida. I hope I gave you some new information and gave you some more clarity on what the area is like. And hey, if you're thinking about moving to Vancouver, Camas, Felida, or Clark County, Washington, myself and my team at Dubyne Realty Group would love to be of service to you. So please reach out to us. You can email us, DM us on Instagram, text us. If you want to call, let's set up a time for that to make sure that we are giving you the proper attention, because we are running around serving clients all day. And you can sign up for our weekend email, Weekend Happenings with Hannah. We put the best 5 or 6 events in there happening every weekend, and keep up with us on a day-to-day basis on Instagram at Hannah Dubyne. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.